Dr. Kim Tae-ho was fixing his coffee maker when the emergency signal came through. The red light on his communication panel started flashing, and the sharp beeping sound filled his small clinic on Kepler Station. He put down his tools and walked over to answer the call. The screen showed static at first. Then a voice came through, broken and full of interference. "This is merchant vessel. Need medical help. Dying animal. Please respond." Tae-ho pressed the response button. "This is Dr. Kim Tae-ho, xenobiologist and veterinary specialist. What is your location?" More static. Then the voice came back clearer. "Asteroid belt, Sector 7. Ship is damaged. Creature is hurt bad. You must come now." Tae-ho looked at his duty roster. He was the only animal doctor in 3 sectors of space. When creatures got sick or hurt on the outer rim, people called him. It did not matter if the animal was from Earth or some strange world he had never seen. Life was life, and his job was to save it. "I will be there in 2 hours," he said into the microphone. "Try to keep the animal calm and warm." The signal went dead. Tae-ho gathered his medical equipment. He had treated many different species over the years. Space cats from Rigel Prime, giant worms from the mining colonies, even a few creatures that nobody could name. Each one was different, but the basic rules of medicine stayed the same. Stop the bleeding. Ease the pain. Save the life. His small medical ship, the Mercy, was ready to go. He climbed into the pilot's seat and started the engines. The ship lifted off from the station and headed toward the asteroid belt. During the flight, Tae-ho tried to contact the damaged ship again. No answer. That was not good. Either their communication system was completely broken, or something worse had happened. He thought about his sister Soo-jin while he flew. She would have been proud of him. Even after what happened to her, he still helped anyone who needed it. That was the kind of person she had raised him to be. 2 hours later, Tae-ho found the ship. It was stuck between 2 large asteroids with black smoke coming from its engines. The hull showed signs of weapon damage. This was no merchant vessel. The ship was long and dark, with strange symbols painted on its sides. Tae-ho had seen those symbols before. His blood went cold. This was a Velthak ship. The Velthak were enemies of humanity. They had attacked human colonies for years, taking prisoners and resources. They were tall, with gray skin and black eyes. They were strong and cruel, and they hated humans. Tae-ho's hand moved toward the controls to turn his ship around. But then he heard something over the radio. It was not words. It was a sound of pain. A low, sad noise that could only come from a creature in great suffering. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. His oath as a doctor was clear. He would help any living thing that needed help, even if it belonged to his enemies. The Mercy docked with the damaged ship. Tae-ho put on his medical kit and opened the airlock. The air inside the Velthak ship was thick and smelled like metal and blood. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a Velthak officer wearing a black uniform with silver decorations. The alien's black eyes looked at Tae-ho with disgust. "You are the animal doctor," the Velthak said in broken human language. His voice was deep and harsh. "You took long time to come?" "I came as fast as I could," Tae-ho replied. "Where is the injured animal?" The Velthak officer pointed down a dark hallway. "Follow, but know this, human. The creature you will see is worth more than your entire pathetic species. If it dies because of your failure, I will kill you slowly." Tae-ho nodded. He had dealt with threats before. Right now, his only concern was the suffering creature. They walked through the ship's corridors. The walls were covered with scratches and dents. Whatever was hurt had been fighting inside the ship. The Velthak officer stopped at a large door. "Its name is Rathak. It was created for war, for hunting your kind. But now it is broken." The door opened, and Tae-ho stepped inside. The room was huge, like a cargo hold. In the center, lying on the metal floor, was the most amazing and terrifying creature Tae-ho had ever seen. The Rathak was enormous. It was twice as long as Tae-ho was tall, with thick muscles under scales that changed color like a rainbow. Its head was like a mix between a wolf and a dragon, with teeth as long as kitchen knives. 4 powerful legs ended in claws that could tear through steel. But the creature was dying. Its breathing was slow and painful. The colorful scales were fading to gray. Dark blood pooled around its body. When Tae-ho approached, the Rothak opened. Its eyes, they were large and intelligent, filled with pain and something else. Something that looked almost like hope. "How long has it been like this?" Tae-ho asked. 3 days, the Vailthak officer replied. "It stopped eating, stopped fighting. Now it just lies there." Tae-ho knelt beside the creature. Up close he could see that this was not just some wild animal. The Rothak had been changed, engineered. Its body showed signs of genetic modification. This was a weapon made from living flesh. The creature's eyes followed Tae-ho as he opened his medical kit. There was intelligence there, real thinking. This was not just an animal. This was something more. "I need to examine it," Tae-ho said. "Can you keep it calm?" The Vailthak officer laughed. It was an ugly sound. "The Rothak does not need to be kept calm, human. It is too weak to hurt you now. But if you save it, remember what it was made to do. It was created to hunt humans, to kill your soldiers, to destroy your colonies." Tae-ho looked into the Rothak's eyes again. The creature seemed to understand what the Vailthak had said. For just a moment, something like shame flickered in those intelligent eyes. "I understand," Tae-ho said quietly. "But right now, it needs help. That is all that matters." He began his examination, wondering what he had gotten himself into. Tae-ho pulled out his medical scanner and began checking the Rothak's vital signs. The device beeped softly as it collected data. The creature's heart rate was too slow. Its body temperature was dropping. Blood pressure was falling fast. "How long ago was this creature made?" Tae-ho asked without looking up from his work. The Vailthak officer, who had told Tae-ho his name was Captain Vel Krethon, watched from across the room. 6 months. It cost us many resources to create. The best genetic engineers in the Empire worked on this project. Tae-ho's hands moved carefully over the Rothak's body. The creature did not try to bite or scratch him. It seemed to understand that he was trying to help. This surprised him. Most wild animals fought when they were hurt and scared. "What was it designed to do exactly?" Tae-ho asked. Krethon's black eyes grew bright with pride. "The Rothak can change its skin color to become invisible. Its claws can cut through your starship hulls. Its bite carries acid that melts metal and flesh. It can track human scent across 3 star systems." As Krethon spoke, Tae-ho remembered the attack on his home colony 5 years ago. The Vailthak had come in the night with their war beasts. His sister Su-jin had been working late at the communications center. She tried to send a warning to other human settlements. The creatures found her first. Tae-ho's hands began to shake as he worked. He forced himself to breathe slowly and focus on his job. The past was the past. Right now, there was a dying creature that needed his help. The scanner finished its work and showed the results on its small screen. Tae-ho looked at the data and frowned. Something was very wrong. "Captain Krethon," he said slowly, "when did you say this creature started getting sick?" 3 days ago. It was fine. Then suddenly it stopped eating." "Why do you ask?" Tae-ho pointed to his scanner. "These readings show that the Rothak is not sick from injury or infection. Its cells are breaking down from the inside. This looks like genetic failure." Krethon walked over to look at the scanner. His gray face grew darker. "That is not possible. Our scientists said the design was perfect." "No genetic design is perfect," Tae-ho replied. "When you change living tissue this much, there are always risks. The more changes you make, the more unstable the organism becomes." The Rothak made a soft sound, like a whimper. Tae-ho looked into its eyes again. The creature was listening to their conversation. It understood what they were saying. "Can you fix it?" Krethon demanded. Tae-ho studied the scanner readings more carefully. The genetic breakdown was happening in a very specific pattern. It was too organized to be natural failure. "Captain, he said quietly. I think this creature was designed to die. Crethon grabbed Teho by the shoulder and spun him around. What do you mean? Look at this data. The cell breakdown is following a programmed sequence. Someone built a timer into this creature's DNA. A kill switch. The Velthak captain's face showed confusion, then anger. You lie. Why would we design our own weapon to die? Teho pulled up more information on his scanner. It makes sense from a military point of view. You create the perfect weapon, but you make sure it cannot live too long. That way, if it ever turns against you, or if enemies capture it, the problem solves itself. Crethon was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in his own language into a small communication device. Teho could not understand the words, but the tone was angry and demanding. After a few minutes, Crethon put the device away. His expression was dark with rage. You are correct, human. My commanders have confirmed it. All bioweapons are given limited lifespans. They told me the Rathak would live for 2 years before the shutdown began. It has only been 6 months. The stress of genetic modification can speed up the process, Teho explained. The more complex the changes, the faster the breakdown happens. The Rathak made another soft sound. Teho knelt beside its head and looked into its large eyes. The creature was in pain, but there was something else there. Understanding, it knew what they were talking about. It knew it was dying because someone had programmed it to die. Is there a way to stop the process? Crethon asked. Teho ran more scans. The genetic cascade was already too far along. The creature's organs were beginning to shut down one by one. Its liver was failing. Its kidneys were not working properly. Even its brain was starting to be affected. I could slow it down, Teho said carefully. Give it a few more days, maybe a week. But I cannot stop it completely. The damage is too deep. Crethon activated his communication device again. This time he spoke in human language so Teho could understand. This is Captain Crethon requesting immediate support. I have a valuable asset that needs transport to the nearest research facility. Send the battlecruiser Vengeance to my location. A voice answered through the device. Understood, Captain. The Vengeance will arrive in 30 minutes. Crethon looked at Teho with cold eyes. You will keep this creature alive until my ship arrives. Our scientists will extract its genetic material before it dies, then we can build new ones. Teho felt sick. They wanted him to keep the Rathak alive just long enough to torture it for information. Then they would create more creatures like it to attack human colonies. And if I refuse? Teho asked. Crethon pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Teho's chest. Then you will die with it. Your choice, human doctor. The Rathak was watching this exchange. In its intelligent eyes, Teho saw something he had not expected to see in a creature designed for war. He saw fear. Teho stared at the weapon pointed at his chest. He had been in dangerous situations before, but this felt different. The Rathak was watching him with those intelligent eyes, and he could see the creature understood exactly what was happening. 30 minutes, Teho said slowly. That is not much time. It is enough time to prepare the creature for transport, Crethon replied. Use whatever medicine you have to keep it stable. Teho opened his medical kit and began pulling out supplies. His mind was racing. He could give the Rathak stimulants to keep its heart beating stronger. He could inject nutrients to slow the organ failure. He could do many things to keep it alive for a few more hours, but should he? As he worked, Teho thought about what would happen if he helped the creature survive. The Velthak scientists would take it apart piece by piece while it was still alive. They would study its modified genes and use that knowledge to create more weapons, more creatures that would attack human colonies like the one where his sister died. The Rathak made a small noise and turned its head toward Teho. The creature's breathing was getting weaker. Soon it would not be able to breathe at all. Hurry up, human, Crethon ordered. The Vengeance will be here soon. Teho picked up a syringe filled with heart stimulant. One injection would buy the creature several more hours of life. Hours that would be filled with pain and fear as the Velthak scientists worked on it. He looked into the Rathak's eyes again. The creature blinked slowly as if it was trying to tell him something. Captain Crethon, Teho said. I need to ask you something. Is this creature intelligent? Crethon laughed. Of course not. It is just an animal, a very expensive and useful animal, but still just an animal. Are you sure about that? What do you mean? Tejo put down the syringe and pulled out a small device from his kit. It was a simple communication tool that used mathematical patterns instead of words. Scientists used it to talk to alien species when they first met them. He activated the device and had it display a basic mathematical sequence. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. Simple patterns that any intelligent being would recognize. The Rothak looked at the device's screen. Then it lifted one of its claws and tapped on the metal floor. Tap, tap, pause. Tap, 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 pause. The creature was copying the mathematical pattern. Crethon stepped closer. What is it doing? It is answering, Tejo said quietly. It understands mathematics. Only intelligent beings can do that. The Rothak continued tapping. It showed that it understood addition, then subtraction, then multiplication. The patterns became more complex, but the creature followed each one perfectly. This is impossible, Crethon said. Bioweapons are not given intelligence. They only need to follow simple commands. Tejo changed the mathematical display to show a question. What is 3 + 5? The Rothak tapped 8 times. Your scientists made a mistake, Tejo said. When they modified its brain to make it a better hunter, they accidentally gave it real intelligence. This creature can think and feel just like you or me. Crethon looked angry and confused. Even if that is true, it does not matter. The Rothak is still our property. It was made to serve the Empire. Tejo turned back to his medical kit. The syringe of heart stimulant was still there, waiting. One injection and the creature would live long enough to suffer through whatever the Velthak scientists wanted to do to it. He picked up the device again and changed the display. This time he showed the creature a simple image of a planet with creatures living on it peacefully. Then he showed an image of the same creatures being hurt and killed. The Rothak looked at the images for a long time. Then it tapped a complex pattern on the floor. Tejo entered the pattern into his device to see what it meant. The answer made his heart stop. The creature had tapped out the mathematical formula for sadness and regret. What did it say? Crethon demanded. Tejo looked at the dying creature with new understanding. It said it is sorry. It knows what it was designed to do, and it is sorry for the pain it was meant to cause. The Rothak tapped again. This time the pattern was even more complex. When Tejo translated it, the message was clear. The creature was asking for help. Not to live, but to die peacefully. Enough of this, Crethon snapped. Give it the medicine. The vengeance will be here in 15 minutes. Tejo picked up the syringe again. His hand was shaking. He had spent his whole life saving animals. Every instinct told him to help this creature live. But for the first time, he wondered if helping something live was the right choice. The Rothak was watching him. In its eyes, Tejo saw pain, intelligence, and something else. Trust. The creature trusted him to make the right decision. Outside the ship, he could hear the sound of engines approaching. The Velthak battlecruiser was coming. Soon there would be more soldiers, more weapons, and no chance to change his mind. Tejo had to choose. Save the creature so it could be tortured for information that would help create more weapons of war. Or let it die peacefully and refuse to be part of the cycle of violence and hatred. The syringe felt heavy in his hand. The Rothak closed its eyes and waited for his decision. Time was running out. The sound of the approaching battlecruiser grew louder. Tejo could feel the vibrations through the damaged ship's hull. In just a few minutes, Velthak soldiers would board the vessel and take control of the situation. He looked down at the syringe in his hand. The heart stimulant would keep the Rothak alive for hours, maybe even days. Long enough for the alien scientists to do whatever they wanted with the creature. The Rothak opened its eyes and looked at him. The creature's breathing was so weak that Tejo had to watch carefully to see its chest moving up and down. Hurry, Crethon ordered. I can see the vengeance on the scanner. They will be here in 5 minutes. Tejo knelt beside the creature's massive head. Up close, he could see that the Rothak was beautiful in its own way. The scales that covered its body were like tiny mirrors, reflecting light in patterns that seemed almost like art. Someone had spent months creating this living being, shaping every detail with scientific precision, but they had also programmed it to die. "I am going to try something," Tejo said to the creature quietly. "I want to see if we can really communicate." He activated his mathematical communication device again. This time, instead of showing simple numbers, he displayed a complex question. It was written in the universal language of mathematics that intelligent species used to share ideas across the galaxy. The question was, do you want to live? The Rothak looked at the device for a long moment. Its large eyes moved back and forth as it read the mathematical symbols. Then it lifted its claw and began tapping on the metal floor. Tejo watched the pattern and entered it into his device. The answer came back immediately. No, Tejo felt his heart skip a beat. He entered another question. "Are you in pain?" The creature tapped again. "Yes." Another question. "Do you understand what they want to do to you?" "Yes." One more question. "What do you want me to do?" The Rothak's tapping was slower this time. The creature was getting weaker, but the message was clear when Tejo translated it. "Let me go in peace." "What are you doing?" Crethon demanded. He had moved closer and was trying to see the device's screen. "I am talking to your weapon," Tejo replied. "It does not want to be saved." Crethon grabbed the device from Tejo's hands and looked at the display. His gray face showed confusion and anger. "This is meaningless. Animals cannot think like this. You are making it up." The Rothak lifted its head with great effort and looked directly at Crethon. Then it began tapping on the floor without any prompting from Tejo. Tejo took back his device and watched the pattern. When he translated it, he read the message out loud. "I am not just an animal. I think and feel. I know what I was made to do, and I am sorry for the pain I was meant to cause. I do not want to hurt anyone anymore. Please let me rest." Crethon stared at the dying creature. "Even if it can think, it belongs to the Empire. We created it. We own it." The Rothak tapped. Again. This time the message was directed at Crethon. "You made my body, but you did not make my mind. That came from something else. Something you did not plan for. I choose what happens to me now." Outside, the sound of the battle cruiser's engines stopped. They had docked with the damaged ship. Soon the airlocks would open and soldiers would come aboard. Tejo looked at the syringe in his hand again. He could give the creature the heart stimulant and let the Velthak scientists tear it apart to learn its secrets. Or he could respect the wishes of an intelligent being who wanted to die with dignity. 2 minutes, Crethon said, checking his communication device. "The boarding team is preparing to enter." Tejo made his decision. He put down the syringe with the heart stimulant and picked up a different one. This syringe contained a powerful sedative that he used when animals were in terrible pain. It would make the creature sleep peacefully as its body shut down. "What are you doing?" Crethon asked. "I am giving it pain medication," Tejo lied. "To keep it comfortable during transport." The Rothak watched as Tejo prepared the injection. The creature's eyes met his, and Tejo saw understanding there. The Rothak knew what he was really doing. Tejo inserted the needle into a vein in the creature's neck. The sedative flowed into its bloodstream quickly. "Thank you." The Rothak tapped weakly with its claw. "You are welcome," Tejo replied, though he knew Crethon could not understand the mathematical conversation. The creature's eyes began to close. Its breathing became even slower and more peaceful. The pain lines around its face relaxed. "Is it working?" Crethon asked. "Will it survive the transport?" Tejo checked his scanner. The Rothak's heart rate was dropping rapidly. In just a few minutes it would stop completely. "The treatment is taking effect," he said truthfully. The airlock doors opened with a loud hiss. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors as Velthak soldiers entered the ship. The Rothak's eyes opened one last time. It looked at Tejo with what could only be described as gratitude. Then it closed its eyes and its breathing stopped. The creature was free. "No," Crethon said, looking at his scanner. "No, this cannot be happening." The Rathak's colorful scales faded to gray, then to black. The magnificent creature that had been designed for war died peacefully, surrounded by enemies but respected by the one person who had chosen to see it as more than just a weapon. Crethon's soldiers entered the room, just as the last spark of life left the Rathak's body. The Velthak soldiers filled the room, their weapons ready and their black eyes scanning for threats. Their leader, a tall officer with more decorations than Crethon, looked at the dead Rathak and then at Teho. "Report, Captain Crethon," the officer commanded. Crethon's face was dark with rage. "The human failed, Commander Vex. The bioweapon died despite his treatment." Commander Vex walked over to the Rathak's body. He pulled out a scanner and ran it over the dead creature. The device beeped as it collected information. "The genetic cascade was too advanced," Teho said calmly. "By the time I arrived, the creature's organs were already shutting down. There was nothing anyone could have done." Vex looked at the scanner's results. The readings show massive cellular breakdown. "How long was it in this condition?" 3 days, Crethon answered. "It stopped eating and became weak. We called for medical help immediately." "You called too late," Teho said. He began packing his medical equipment. "When genetic modifications fail, the cascade happens very quickly. 6 hours can make the difference between life and death." Commander Vex studied Teho with cold eyes. "You are certain there was no way to save it?" "I am certain. The damage was too extensive. Even our best medical facilities could not have reversed that kind of cellular breakdown." This was not entirely true. Teho could have kept the creature alive for several more hours, maybe even days. But the Rathak had asked him not to. It had chosen to die peacefully rather than suffer through whatever experiments the Velthak had planned. Crethon stepped forward. "Commander, I believe the human may have deliberately allowed the creature to die." He seemed more interested in talking to it than treating it. Vex turned to Teho. "Is this true?" "I examined the creature thoroughly before beginning treatment," Teho replied. "Part of that examination involved testing its intelligence levels to understand how its modified brain was functioning. Intelligence affects how an organism responds to medical treatment. This was also true, though not the whole truth. Teho had learned that the Rathak was fully sentient and had chosen to respect its wishes. "And what did you discover?" Vex asked. "The brain modifications were unstable, just like the rest of its genetic structure. The creature was probably experiencing confusion and disorientation as its neural pathways broke down." Vex nodded. This explanation made sense to him. He had seen other bioweapons fail when their genetic modifications became unstable. "The Empire has lost a valuable asset," Vex said. "Someone will pay for this failure." "The failure was in the original design," Teho said as he closed his medical kit. "Whoever programmed the kill switch into the creature's DNA set the timer too short. You should speak to your genetic engineers, not blame the medical staff who tried to save it." Crethon's anger flared. "You dare to criticize the Empire's scientists?" "I am stating medical facts," Teho replied calmly. "Genetic cascades do not happen randomly. Someone programmed this creature to die after 6 months instead of 2 years. Either it was a mistake or someone wanted this particular bioweapon to have a shorter lifespan." Commander Vex looked thoughtful. The idea that someone in the Empire might have sabotaged the project was worth investigating. Political games and betrayals were common among the Velthak leadership. "Captain Crethon," Vex ordered, "prepare a full report on this incident. Include all communication logs and medical data. I want to know exactly what happened and when." "Yes, Commander," Crethon replied, though his voice showed he was not happy about it. Teho picked up his medical kit and started walking toward the door. "My work here is finished. I need to return to my station." "Wait," Vex called. "The Empire may have questions about your treatment methods. You will remain here until we complete our investigation." Teho stopped and turned around. "I came here in response to an emergency call. I provided medical assistance to a dying creature. Now that creature is dead, and my services are no longer needed. I have other patients waiting. You will remain, until I say otherwise, Vex repeated, his hand moving to his weapon. No, Tejo said simply. I will not. The room went silent. The Valthak soldiers raised their weapons, all pointed at Tejo. But the human doctor showed no fear. You called me here to save a life, Tejo continued. I tried to do that. The creature died because it was designed to die, not because of any failure on my part. You have my medical logs and scan results. That is all the information you need. He started walking toward the door again. If you kill me, you will never get medical help from human doctors again. Word travels fast on the outer rim. Every healer in 3 sectors will know that the Valthak execute medical personnel who try to help them. Commander Vex considered this. The Empire sometimes needed human medical expertise, especially for creatures captured from human space. Killing this doctor would make future cooperation much harder. Let him go, Vex ordered his soldiers. Tejo walked through the corridors of the damaged ship. Behind him, he could hear Crethon arguing with Commander Vex about letting him leave, but Vex had made his decision. At the airlock, Tejo paused and looked back one last time. In that room, the body of the Ratak lay peaceful and still. The creature had been designed as a weapon of war, but it had died as a thinking being who chose its own fate. Tejo boarded his ship, the Mercy, and undocked from the Valthak vessel. As he flew away, he thought about what had happened. He had broken his oath to preserve life at all costs, but he had honored something more important, the right of an intelligent being to choose how its life would end. His communication system chimed with an incoming message. Another emergency call from somewhere in the outer rim. Another creature in need of help. Tejo set course for the new coordinates. He had work to do. In his final log entry for the day, he wrote, "Sometimes the greatest act of healing is knowing when to let go. The Rathak taught me that mercy and medicine are not always the same thing. Today I chose mercy." The stars stretched out before him as the Mercy jumped to hyperspace, carrying its pilot toward the next creature that needed his help.